you started with the fish, right? So it says here, the graph shows changes in the amount of fish, salt, and meat eaten per person per week in China between 1985 and 2010, which is correct. That's your first sentence. So basically, it started talking about the fish first. All right, so concentrate on the fish, which is good because it says here in 1985, blah, 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 fish stood. So you work your way up. All right, so from 1985, which one is next? Oh, there you go, 1995. All right, and then which one is next? So no more dates, right? It ended there, so 1995. So now you go to the salt. So it says, in contrast, there was a consistent drop in salt. So you go to the salt already. Got it? Okay, so that's it. So from fish to salt, and then you concentrate on the salt already. So what are the sentences that has something to do with salt? Okay, so number 6, the amount consumed decreased steadily from 500 grams per person to 200 grams by 2010, which is correct, and you can see that in the chart too. All right, so is there anything else that has something to do with salt? All right, number 7, overall the consumption of fish rose while the consumption of salt fell. Well, you see, you're talking about overall already, but you're not yet done, you know. So basically, this is not yet done, so this should, you know, you should see this somewhere at the end already because of the word overall. All right, you're not yet done. So take a look at the next. So you talked about fish already, you talked about salt already, and what else? I guess there's nothing more, then we go to meat. Okay, so the amount of meat consumed weekly started blah blah blah. Okay, and look at the chart. Which one would relate to the chart? Okay, so however, this gradually increased throughout the period. So if you take a look at the sentence, which would this connect to? All right, so maybe the amount of meat consumed weekly started at 100 grams. Okay, so you could see that in the chart. However, this gradually increased throughout the period. So what does gradually mean? Slowly. Okay, slowly. You look at the chart. Yeah, it's true. It slowly increased throughout the period. So you see from 1985 to 2010, meat, it only increased like up to 200. So it gradually increased, right? Just from 100 to 200. That's it. That's it. All right, so there. And by 2010, it was the same level as the consumption of salt. So you see, you're talking about meat. Which one is at the same level of salt? Meat and salt, right? So there, that's your next sentence. So between these two, which should come first? Overall, the consumption of fish rose while the consumption of salt fell. In addition, okay, so if you say in addition, the consumption of meat, well, at a relatively low level, rose significantly during this period. Overall, the consumption of fish, it does not make sense. All right, so overall would come first, and then this would come last. In addition, the consumption of meat, well, at a relatively low level, rose significantly during this period. So basically, the technique here is just to look at the chart and look at the sentences and try to work your way, you know, from left to right. Okay, it's like you're telling a story. You got me? So choose from the sentences which would come next, which would sound better. You do not start from the beginning and then you go to the end and then you go to the middle, right? So it's always from beginning to end. So just try to analyze your sentences. Like, for example, you arrange it this way and take a look at your chart. Does it make sense? You know, if you are actually saying these sentences in front of people, for example, in a meeting, you're talking about this chart in a meeting. Does it make sense or does it not make sense? Got it? Mm-hmm. In addition, meaning plus, yeah. Like, for example, I would say it's like you want to say something more. So you say in addition. Overall, it's like to involve everything. Okay? Got it? like you're talking about the fish and the meat and the salt. So overall, the consumption of fish rose while the consumption of salt fell. I know, in addition means plus. Okay. Overall means all in all. Okay. So basically over here, you're talking about the salt, right? By 2010, it was the same level as consumption of salt. So here, overall, the consumption of fish rose while the consumption of salt fell. So if you look at the chart, meat, it just gradually increased. All right, so not so much, it's not really worth mentioning. It's not so much difference. But if you look at the salt, it really went down. If you look at the fish, it really went up. Right? So you say overall, okay, all in all, I could tell you the story from 1985 to 1990 to 1995 to 2000, but it doesn't matter. I'll just say all in all, overall, the fish rose, salt fell. That's it. You got it? That's my conclusion. So I will just talk about from 1985 and 2010. So overall, 1985, this was it. 2010, okay, fish rise, all right, fish increased, and then salt decreased. You got it? So overall, you got it? It's like in conclusion, that's it. You know the word conclusion, right? Yes, so you already concluded here, but you say, oh, but I need to add something. So in addition, the consumption of meat, while at a relatively low level, rose significantly during this period. Because you see, if you look at salt and fish, there's a big difference. But you just said it in the end. So, oh, in addition. It's like saying, oh, by the way, the meat, blah, blah, blah. You got it? You got it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's one technique, is just to put everything together that has something to do with meat or anything that has something to do with salt. So you put them together. But that doesn't mean that's the right answer already. Once you put them together, try to look at the sentences you read. Does it make sense? If it makes sense, you put it. If it does not make sense, put it in the side first. It's not because that this has the word meat in it and this has the word meat in it that you have to combine it. Okay? So at first, that's what you do. You combine everything that's, related. And then after combining everything that's related, then that's the time you try to arrange it. Does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. Okay, put it. Number 2. Does it make sense? Okay, number 3. Does it make sense? It says overall. I think the word overall, which should go somewhere at the last part. So try to reserve it. Do not put it yet to number 4. And then take a look at the next sentence again. And also keep looking at your chart. Look at your chart. You're telling a story. This is actually a story about the chart. Okay, it's over here. And this would guide you on, in the future, if you would have to write sentences in your own. This would guide you on how to arrange it, on how to write about graphs. Okay? All right.